Jack was a man whose hunger never went away. No matter how many feasts there were or how much food, he was always hungry. The villagers were tired of him. They thought, this man will never be satisfied. People started ignoring him and slowly began thinking badly of him. But Jack never got angry with anyone. He always smiled and tried to help in his own way. One day, a child in the village fell sick. Everyone was worried about what the child would eat and how he would get better. Jack quietly went to his house and after some time came back with something in his hands. The villagers were surprised. They saw that Jack hadn't taken anything for himself. He quietly said, "This is all for you. I can stay hungry, but helping all of you makes me happy." Slowly, people realized that Jack's hunger was not only physical, he always wanted the best for others. And then, something happened in the village that changed everyone's view of Jack. Seeing Jack help, the villagers slowly started approaching him. They began asking him, "Jack, you are always hungry, so why do you help us?" Jack smiled and said, "Hunger is not only for food. Sometimes a person's soul is hungry for love, support, and understanding. I want every soul here to be satisfied." People thought maybe they had misunderstood Jack. Slowly, they started understanding his words. Little children came to play with him, and older people came to talk to him. Then one day, a huge storm hit the village. The rain was so heavy that people couldn't leave their homes. Food became scarce and fear spread. Jack quietly went to his house again. This time he came back carrying large bags. But the villagers still did not know what Jack had in mind. Jack placed the large bags in the middle of the village. People were scared and worried, but Jack slowly called them over. "Everyone come close. No one will go hungry." The villagers were surprised. They came out of their homes and saw that Jack had gathered food, water, and essential supplies for everyone. Children ran to the bags, and older people slowly took them home in their hands. Gratitude filled the villagers' eyes. Now they understood that Jack's hunger was not just for food. His hunger was to help others and see them happy. The storm was still raging, the rain falling continuously, but the villagers now worked together instead of being afraid. Jack quietly helped everyone. Everyone began to think about how humanity and love could be the greatest strength. And then, something else happened in the village that made Jack's courage and kindness even more visible. Even in the rain and storm, the villagers were still not safe in their homes. Jack saw that some children and older people were still stuck outside. He quietly went to them and said, "Don't be afraid, I will get everyone safely home." The villagers were amazed. In such heavy rain, no one is usually this brave. But Jack slowly led them, using the supplies in the bags to make the path easier. Children and older people followed Jack step by step. Everyone was slowly reaching their homes. But at one spot, the oldest tree in the village had fallen, blocking the way. People were scared. Jack took something in his hands and moved toward the tree. He quietly started working. But in the middle of the rain and storm, his courage amazed everyone. People began thinking, why is Jack taking such a risk? Does he ever get tired? And then, something happened that took everyone's breath away. Jack reached the tree and saw that some children were trembling with fear. Raindrops were falling on their faces, and the wind was so strong that hair flew in every direction. Jack quietly said, "Don't be afraid. I will clear the path in a few minutes." The villagers were amazed. How could someone stay so calm and strong in such a difficult situation? Jack began removing the tree branches with his hands. Cold raindrops fell on his face, but he didn't stop. The children looked into his eyes, and slowly trust appeared on their faces. The older villagers, despite their fear, started feeling hope by watching him. Suddenly, a thick branch of the tree began to shake. Everyone's heartbeats raced. Jack leaned back to protect himself, yet he continued removing the branch from the path. People thought, Will Jack be safe? Will he be able to handle this danger? And then a sudden gust of strong wind blew, taking everyone's breath away. A strong gust of wind blew, and the tree branches shook violently. The children screamed in fear, and the older villagers could barely stay on their feet. Cold raindrops hit their backs, and water was rising in the streets. Jack realized that this branch could break at any moment. Worry was in his eyes, but he did not show fear. He slowly pulled the children back and held the branch with all his strength. The villagers watched silently. Everyone's hearts were racing. In the wind and rain, every movement of the tree seemed terrifying. Jack quietly said, "Be patient. Everything will be okay. I am here." But suddenly, there was a loud cracking sound. Everyone's breath caught. The branch could not hold any longer. People wondered, will Jack be able to make it safe? Will this storm stop him? And then, something happened that made everyone uneasy. Jack held the branch in his hands and slowly began moving it aside. The children and older villagers watched silently. The rain was still heavy, and the wind continued to frighten everyone. Slowly, Jack cleared the branch, and the path was open. The children and elders breathed a sigh of relief and started heading toward their homes. Jack followed behind, drenched, tired, yet his eyes shone with satisfaction and happiness. The villagers realized that during the storm, Jack's courage and humanity had saved them. Slowly, everyone looked at him and smiled. The children came to him and said, "Jack, you always do so much for us. Now we understand that your hunger wasn't just for food." Jack quietly smiled and said, "True hunger is always for the well-being and happiness of others. I'm glad everyone is safe." The storm began to calm down. The villagers returned to their homes, and their view of Jack had changed forever. But everyone knew that Jack's story was still not over. After the storm had calmed, the sun slowly began to shine over the village. Water in the rivers and streets gradually receded. People started coming out and looking at their homes and fields. Jack stood there, drenched but smiling. He saw villagers coming to thank him. Children were playing around him, and the older villagers looked at him with respect. Jack quietly said, "Today I only cleared the path, but the real path is always through humanity and helping others." People began to understand that his hunger never ended because he always cared for others. Slowly, the villagers realized that true strength lies in humanity and love. But some people still wondered why Jack's hunger never seemed to end, even though he did so much. And then, something happened that silenced everyone and focused all eyes on him. Jack looked at all the villagers. There was fatigue in his eyes, but his smile was so warm and genuine that it melted everyone's hearts. He quietly said, "My work will never end. Hunger is not only for food. True hunger is for helping others, giving love and showing humanity. If we keep this hunger in our hearts, we can change the world." The villagers fell silent. Tears appeared in some eyes, and others smiled, saying, "Jack, now we understand that true strength lies in love and helping others." Children played around him, and the older villagers sat near him talking. Everyone realized that this man, whose hunger never seemed to end, had taught them the greatest lesson of humanity. Jack slowly looked at the village and said, "Now you don't need to be afraid. When we support each other, no storm can ever be too big." The sun's rays spread fully across the village. After the rain and storm, hope, love, and respect shone on every face. The villagers now understood that true hunger is always for the well-being and happiness of others. And in this way, Jack not only kept the village safe, but also awakened the hunger for humanity and love in everyone's hearts. Jack's story became an inspiration for all.